So the goal for this trip was to learn about Spanish culture. I really didn't know anything about Spanish culture at all. But while on my bus from Rome, I was doing research on Spain and learned a little bit more about Barcelona, and the goal of the trip changed. I was so fascinated by the Catalonian history. So what was a trip to learn about Spanish culture became a trip to learn more about Catalonia and their history. This is a very condensed version of events. The Iberian Peninsula in the 1500s was home to 5 kingdoms, Catalonia being a principality of the Crown of Aragon. King Ferdinand of the Crown of Aragon betrothed Princess Isabella of Castile. Together they colonized the peninsula, creating what we now know as Spain. But Catalonia has always fought for their freedom. Their principality had existed centuries before Spain. Learning about all of this made me even more excited to see the city and learn not only about Spanish culture, but Catalonia and their culture as well. And the first stop in Barcelona was obviously the Gothic Quarter. The historic quarter of any city is usually my favorite. In the Gothic Quarter, it was even more beautiful than I could have imagined. Here at the main city cathedral, there was many kids playing, people performing, and just people talking. It made me excited to see the rest of the old city. The Gothic Quarter and El Born in Barcelona are full of these little alleyways, and aside from being absolutely beautiful, they all have like such fascinating stories. For example, I just got to Plaza del Rey, and this was once the former residence of a few of the kings of the Crown of Aragon, and it's believed by historians that this was the place where Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand welcomed Columbus after his voyage to the Americas. It is on these steps where historians believe Columbus announced the discovery of the New World. And so to be here and to see the steps and to think about all the history, both good and bad, that started here in this very spot is so mind-boggling. And it's literally just like tucked away in one of these little plazas past one small alleyway. It's so insane. And it's taking your time walking down the old city, going through every alleyway, stopping in some of the little corners like this one, and learning each one's history that makes you really appreciate the city. It's honestly so crazy how much has happened in every part of the city. And walking just a little bit further, we have come to Plaza Neri, and this plaza is also very important in the history of Barcelona and Spain in general. It was here during the Spanish Civil War and the Franco dictatorship that this church was actually turned into an orphanage, mostly for children that were orphaned by the Civil War. And it was this very plaza that in 1938 the Franco regime dropped 2 bombs, killing about 40 children, and that's actually what caused the holes on the wall behind me that you can see. And to try to actually cover up what the regime did, they spread fake news and propaganda, claiming that the holes made by the bombs that they dropped were actually made by communists' guns when they came here to execute priests. And it was believed for a long time that that's what had happened, when in fact it was the regime that did it. Okay, so right now I'm at the Palacio de la Música Catalana. This is a building that was built during the Catalonian Renaissance. This one is truly incredible. The theater is like one of the most unique theaters I've ever seen. It's quite possibly one of the most beautiful I've ever seen in my whole life. It's so different from anyone I've ever seen before. It's very unique. It kind of looks like we're in like a jewelry box almost. Like it's so shiny. All the mosaic work is like truly incredible. And the stained glass, it's hard to imagine how this was even done. I've really never seen anything like it. It's so, so beautiful. An orchestra is actually practicing down there below me, so it's really cool. I just paid to come in and see the Palacio, and there's just an orchestra practicing. So it's like a free little show. So right now we're at La Boqueria. It is a market that has been going for hundreds of years. It originally started in the 1200s as an unofficial market where farmers from local villages would come and sell their produce. And then in the 1800s it became an official market and the structure was built, and it's been pretty much the same since then. It's super cool to be here. There's a lot of traditional like Catalonian food, and there's so many people here. It's wonderful. Hola. Quería saber si tienen una paella vegana. Sí, okay. Sí, por favor. Right now I'm getting paella, which is like a very traditional Catalonian rice dish. Super excited to try it. I've never had it, and so it's really cool to be here and to find like a
a vegan one. Oh my god, it looks so good. Very exciting. Oh my god. It's super cool that like nowadays you can come to a market like this that has traditional food from the place that you're in and find like a vegan option. I just got my paella. Very excited to try it. I've never had it before. It's traditional food from Spain. Very excited. It looks so good. Let's see. Mmm. Oh my god. I can't even like describe the flavor. It's like crazy good though. Oh my god. So good. Do you want to try it? It's very good, huh?
But sadly, even though this is a historic market with centuries of culture, due to the influx of tourists and gentrification, some of the old historic stalls are being run out of business, and the market stalls, which once had cultural foods, are being replaced by crepes and churros, and that's why it's important to be a conscious traveler. You don't want to help destroy and gentrify the culture of a place. When you visit a city, the idea should be to learn about the culture and in turn learn from it. Just outside the market is La Rambla, a pedestrian street lined with trees. For hundreds of years, this was one of the centers of city life. In 1936, it was here where the first shots of the Spanish Civil War were fired. Now, it's also seeing its own gentrification. Local shops once useful to Catalonians are being replaced with souvenir kiosks. It's another show of the commodification of the city. While still beautiful and lively, it's a reminder to be a conscious traveler. Excited to learn more about the city and Catalonia, we ventured away from the coast towards the city, up the road to Gracia, arriving at Casa Batlló.
Okay, so we have come to Casa Batlló, which was redesigned and built by Gaudí in 1904. And Casa Batlló is considered one of Gaudí's masterpieces, along with La Sagrada Familia and La Pedrera. The building is honestly incredible. It's so beautiful. I've really never seen anything like it. The building is done in Catalonian modernism, the style that Gaudí was known for. And it really is just like insane to see. Gaudí was known in his time for breaking all rules of traditional architecture. And a lot of his buildings are reminiscent of shapes in the natural world. And you can see this one is, I think it's very contested what the building is supposed to be. From what I went online, a lot of people believe that it's supposed to be reminiscent of the ocean. And you can see the ocean floor color palette on the mosaic of the building. And the balconies are reminiscent of skeletons, sort of sea animals. It's insane to see, it's so pretty.
A little up the street is another Gaudí masterpiece, Casa Mila. It was the first building in Barcelona to use reinforced concrete. Here at Casa Mila, the reinforced concrete was used specifically to achieve the unique curve and archways on the building.
And the street that Casa Batlló and Casa Mila are on is called El Paseo de Gracia, or the road to Gracia. Gracia was a village that was just outside of Barcelona, and as Barcelona started to outgrow its medieval wall, they absorbed Gracia and started expanding the city outward. And this road, this neighborhood actually was always meant to be like an egalitarian neighborhood where everybody would have equal access to everything. But then it eventually ended up becoming a neighborhood for rich people. And so you'll see this road even still to this day has a lot of like designer stores. Like I just passed a Gucci and a Cartier. On this road up here, there is a little section of it called the Street of Discourse, because there is a bunch of like beautiful houses on it, and as like the rich people that moved to this area started constructing their houses, they were all sort of trying to like outdo each other, is how the story goes. And so each house looks like very over the top, and they're all beautiful. That's actually the street that Casa Batlló is on. So it's great to come here, walk down the street, look at the beautiful houses, enjoy the architecture. I can't afford anything at these stores though, so I won't be going in. I'm just here for the architecture.
For a better view of the city, the trip to Parc Montjuïc is a must. You take a cable car up the mountain to the Castle Montjuïc that was actually used as a military fort. The castle is beautiful, but the view from the top of the castle is supposed to be even more beautiful. However, while inside, it was no longer the view I ended up caring about. It was the history of what this place had done to the city and its inhabitants that mattered. Reading about the history of the fortress and what it's been used to do to the Catalonian people was harrowing. I came here to see a pretty view, but what I got instead was a deep appreciation for the Catalonian people.
And then after reading about those stories, you get to come up here to the terrace at the top of the castle and see the city as it is now. Like, it's so crazy to be down there and read about all the times that the city has been under siege and under fire. And then to come up here and see it as it is today is just really incredible, and see how the Catalonian people have overcome everything that has happened to them. It's really inspiring.
With even more appreciation for the city and its inhabitants, I headed back down to the city and stopped at Parque de la Ciudadela. It was here, in the early 1700s, that King Philip of Spain built the citadel of Barcelona, after laying siege to Barcelona for more than 13 months. In order to maintain control of the city and to prevent the Catalonians from rebelling, as they had in previous centuries, at the time it was the largest fortress in Europe. Hundreds of Catalonians were forced to work on the construction for 3 years, while the rest of the city provided financial backing. In 1841, the city's authorities decided to destroy the fortress, which was, of course, hated by Barcelona's citizens. This marked the conclusion of the old, unprogressive Barcelona and the establishment of a modern, cosmopolitan city. It really, I think, again, shows the spirit of Catalonia to reuse and repurpose a space that was once used against them. They turned a place that represented oppression and tyranny into a space for the people of the city, and I think that's beautiful. And it's a theme I keep seeing the more I learn about the history of Barcelona and its people.
We are doing the hike up Parque Guinardó, and it is beautiful so far. We're just getting like little glimpses of the view so far, but it's insane. We're heading up to a lookout known as Los Bunkers, and I'm very excited to see it.
The hike up the hill was pretty strenuous, but the view from the top was definitely worth it. There were so many people here, having picnics, drinking, and just hanging out, watching the sunset over the city and the sky turn pink. On this trip to Spain, I expected to learn more about Spanish culture, and while I have, what has been the most rewarding has been learning about Catalonia and their movement toward freedom. It's so beautiful that the Catalonian people have been able to overcome all of these hardships and the oppression of the Spanish crown and maintain what seems to me their cultural heritage and their language. I spoke to many people, from taxi drivers to baristas, and they all told me that when you move to Barcelona, you have to learn Catalan, which I think is great. When you move here and learn the language, you're acknowledging the history of this place. You're acknowledging that while it is currently part of Spain, it's still Catalonia. Being up here gave me even more of an appreciation for the city, and seeing everyone together with their friends really showed the community that exists here in the city. But Barcelona is facing another problem. Tourism is taking a toll not only on the city, but the residents who live here. The city has seen the expulsion of its residents for the transformation of their houses into tourist accommodations, and rental prices are increasing all over the city. And this is one problem with tourism. I'm not sure what the solution is, but I do know that when you're visiting a city, it's so important to be mindful of what you do and how you consume there. If you're traveling only to see and not to learn about the culture you're visiting, then I'd say you should maybe rethink your trip.
Okay, now we've come to the Picasso Museum, here also in the Old City in Barcelona. The museum is super, super cool. This was the first museum ever opened dedicated to Picasso, and the only one that opened in his lifetime. This museum in particular has a lot of work spanning his entire career. You can come here and see a lot of work from his early years, teenage years, and then as he goes into Blue Period and then Cubism, and you can see his art develop over time. And so it's really cool to see the full span of his work and how he came to have his own personal style. It's also cool to be here because he lived in Barcelona at various points in his life, and so you can see some landscapes that he did while here in the city. I just saw he did a landscape of Parque de la Ciudadela, and so it's cool to go to the places that he was inspired by and see them for yourself.
It's not only an issue of the person who's traveling, of course. It's an issue with the government of Spain, wanting to prioritize the money tourism generates over the well-being of Catalonians. I understand the city needs money from tourism, but what is there to see if the local population is forced to move over exorbitant rent prices? Tourism is a complex issue, but these are issues we should be aware of. And this isn't just my opinion. People who live in Barcelona have been quoted saying this about tourists who aren't here to learn. What we have in Barcelona is booze tourism. They don't go to museums. They are not here to learn about our culture. And ultimately, that's what I think is wrong with our idea about tourism. It's fine to go and see sights, of course, but if you're going to more bars than museums, and you're talking to more tourists than locals, I think that's an issue. What's the point of going to a place like Barcelona, if not to learn about the people who live there? Finally, On the last day of our trip, we got the incredible chance to go inside Casa Batlló, and it was really special. Seeing it from the outside did not do it justice, and I feel like if I hadn't gone inside and learned more about the house and its history and what the house represents to the people of Catalonia, I would have missed so much. It felt very important to go inside and learn more about it.
I'm about to get up to the roof. The house has been so incredible so far, so I can't wait to see the view. Oh my gosh. This is it. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Whoa. So beautiful.